Hey, what's going on, y'all? How are we doing? We ain't going to talk about any specific teams today. We are going to talk about one player that has also been the talk of the town for the last 5, 6 days or so. And that player's name is Cam Thomas. As y'all know, Cam Thomas was drafted in 2021 by the Brooklyn Nets out of Louisiana State University. He was notably known as a tough shot maker, and his NBA draft profile describes him as a perimeter scoring machine with supreme confidence and an in the gym range shot, which, if y'all don't know, it's those deep threes that, some of your boys will take in a pickup game, that type of thing. And his draft profile from 2021 also explains this. He comes into the draft after breaking all kinds of scoring records at every stop of his amateur career, and it's easy to see why when you watch how he aggressively seeks ways to put shots up. He can be absolutely deadly when he gets it rolling, and he could score in bunches, and he is the definition of a true volume scorer. And it also made sense why the Brooklyn Nets drafted him, because if y'all remember, in 2021, the Nets lost in a Game 7 in overtime versus the Milwaukee Bucks. Obviously, that series came with Kyrie Irving being hurt. He sprained his ankle in I think it was like game 3 or 4 of that series. I'm not 100% sure. I believe it was game 4. And then James Harden was playing on a pretty messed up hamstring. Well, it wasn't like messed up to a point where he couldn't walk, but he just wasn't the same player. It was just Kevin Durant, a bit of Blake Griffin, versus the whole entire Bucks team, and the Nets really needed a reliable scoring punch because of the fact that Kyrie Irving was out with a hurt ankle or with a messed up ankle, and then James Harden was basically not himself because of the fact he was playing on a bulky hamstring. For some context, y'all, he would have had the same type of role that Jamal Crawford had with the LA Clippers when they had Chris Paul, Blake Griffin, and DeAndre Jordan, or Lou Williams on the Clippers when Kawhi Leonard and Paul George came to town. Obviously, Lou Will was the sixth man off the Clippers bench when they had guys like SGA and Tobias Harris, and then they had guys like Landry Shamet, Danilo Gallinari, Big Zoo, Vitsa Zubats, Patty Mills on the Spurs when they had Tony Parker, Tim Duncan, Manu Ginobili, and uprising Kawhi Leonard. Let's see, the Pacers with TJ McConnell and Benedict Mathurin off the bench to back up Tyrese Halliburton, Andrew Nembhard, Aaron Nesmith, Pascal Siakam, and back then Miles Turner, yada, yada, yada. You get the story. Cam would have had that same type of role playing next to Kyrie Irving, Kevin Durant, and James Harden. Cam played in pretty much limited minutes in his first 2 years. He only averaged 17 minutes a game in his rookie year and then 16 minutes a game in his second year in the league. But he didn't really get much burn in the playoffs. And if you look at his stats on ESPN, y'all, you would understand why that Steve Nash back then, or Jock Vaughn, because he was the head coach after Steve Nash got fired in the early stages of the 2022-23 season. There's a reason why he wasn't played in the playoffs, if anything at all. But regardless, if you look at his regular season numbers, you definitely see the growth in Cam Thomas's scoring. And notice how I said scoring, not his overall game, but I will get to that. He averaged 8.5 a game in his rookie year, 10.6 a game in his second year in the league, 22.5 a game in his third year in the league, and last year he averaged a career high 24 points. And get this, he averaged a career high 4 assists a game. And I will get into the deeper aspect on why that could be considered problematic in today's NBA, if y'all know what I mean. This year, Cam Thomas has averaged his lowest scoring output overall since his second year in the league, 2022-23. In the 24 games he played with the Brooklyn Nets, he averaged 15.6 a game. And then, when he was traded to the Milwaukee Bucks in the 18 games he played in, he averaged 10.7 a game. Now, I know what some of y'all that are watching this video are thinking. And you probably have said this to guys like Get Like Coop and all these other YouTubers that made their videos about the Cam Thomas situation on why he was traded and then waived all within the same season before the season concluded, right? He's putting up pretty good numbers. I mean, averaging 15 to 20 a game, that's good enough for any contending team to have, especially when they need a scorer off the bench that could get you buckets, right? And if you just look at his points per game and the field goal percentage and the three-point percentage, then yeah, I would agree with you. Because look, his second year in the league, 2022-23, he shot 44% from the field, 38% from three, 2023-24, 44% again. But you could see that his efficiency started to drop down drastically, right? At least his last 3 years of Brooklyn. 36% from three, 2023-24. Last year, yes, it was a career high 24 a game, but he averaged 43.8% from the field goal, from the overall field goal range, and then shy of 35% from three. So you could tell that the efficiency started to wane, and Cam Thomas was starting to expose who he really was as a player in today's game, because his numbers really came on bad teams. The Brooklyn Nets in 2023-24 missed the playoffs. Last year, they were a bad team. This year, they're tanking. You know what I'm saying? And if you look at the amount of shot attempts that Cam has shot when he averaged those quote-unquote career highs, look, he averaged 18 field goal attempts a game and then 6 to 8 three-point attempts a game. So the dude was basically chucking up shots, bruh. And the numbers ain't translate to wins at all when he was on the Brooklyn Nets, and he barely contributed to wins. And, well, it doesn't help that the Bucks really freaking suck. But his numbers didn't really make that much of a difference for Milwaukee either in the 18 games he did play in. What Cam Thomas is a small shooting guard, an inefficient small shooting guard that cannot defend. That type of player, at least a small, inefficient guard type of player, is starting to become obsolete in today's NBA, where if you are a small player, you better have other things and attributes that are not just scoring the basketball. Now, I know what some of y'all are thinking. I understand Cam Thomas is a possession ends with me type of player. That's why I call him the possession ends with me player. And there are a lot of those type of players even in today's NBA. Michael Porter Jr. is a notorious example of that. When Michael Porter Jr. was with the Denver Nuggets, every time Jamal Murray and Nikola Jokic gave him the ball, he caught it with the intention of shooting it, and he's also doing that in a bigger role with the Brooklyn Nets this year, and that alone reduced Cam Thomas's role to a point where he can't be the Cam Thomas that was comfortable scoring all those points with are basically just empty stats. That's what I'm trying to say. Cam Johnson was the same thing in Brooklyn too, but now he's on a winning team, and plus his numbers did contribute to winning when he was with the Phoenix Suns too. Bennedict Mathurin is also a good example as well, which is why the Pacers traded him, because Bennedict Mathurin was too much of an ISO player in an Indiana Pacers system where it was all about run and gun, ball movement, make sure everyone touches the ball, which is the objective of a guy like Tyrese Halliburton in the Indiana Pacers offense. Even in that finals run last year, where Bennedict Mathurin had like 2 memorable games from my memory, I think there was like, game 3 or 4 versus the New York Knicks, and in the finals, I think it was game 3 versus Oklahoma City, where Bennedict Mathurin scored 27 points. Klay Thompson was another example in his prime with the Golden State Warriors. I love Kobe, but Kobe was a prime example of the possession ends with me. But Kobe was just so good at doing that, and his numbers contributed to winning. And then you add guys like, let's say, a Kevin Durant, a Russell Westbrook, all these other players. We can go down the list. We can go down through NBA history to look for those type of players. But you guys get what I mean. Yes, Cam Thomas is that type of player, as much as those other guys are. But what separates him, and then you can throw Mathurin and MPJ too, but at least Mathurin made the finals, and MPJ has won a finals, and he was actually a key contributor to the Denver Nuggets winning the finals. What separates Cam Thomas from these other players is that when you put Cam Thomas on a good team, you could tell right away that his shot chucking and his inability to do anything else, aka assisting the ball, sharing the ball, or getting back on defense, is going to hurt the team, and it's going to make him unplayable, especially in today's NBA, where you have guys like Luka Doncic, SGA, Anthony Edwards, Tyrese Halliburton, Derek White, and Stephon Castle, aka big guards that can either A, score and assist the ball, or B, score, assist the ball, and defend, or C, score and defend. Cam does not fit that mold at all, bro. And here's the thing, too. Cam Thomas is 6'3 and 210, which is not bad if you are a starting point guard. Hell, it's not even bad if you're a starting shooting guard. But at that size, in today's league, your numbers better contribute to winning. For example, Jalen Brunson, he's a small guard, but he's averaging 27 a game consistently with the New York Knicks in his 4 years of being there, and his numbers translated to wins. Hell, he is the reason. And obviously, Karl-Anthony Towns and the defense of guys like Mikal Bridges and OG Anunoby. But primarily, Jalen Brunson was the reason they got as far as they did last year, going to a Game 6 in the conference finals, where they ultimately got eliminated by the Indiana Pacers. Norman Powell last year. And you can even go back to his days with the Toronto Raptors. His numbers were a reason why the Clippers and the Raptors, and a bit of the Portland Trailblazers too, but mainly the Clippers and the Raptors, his numbers were the reason why those teams won a lot of ball games during his time there, especially last year when Norman was on the LA Clippers. And also, if you are that size and if you cannot score, you better do a good job of sharing the ball. For example, Ja Morant. Yes, he's a small guard. And yes, he hasn't been the best at shooting the basketball at all. But one thing he's always done, and whether that was the flow of the Taylor Jenkins offense and even in parts of the Tomas Isolo offense this year and parts of last season when after Jenkins got fired, he consistently averaged 7 to 8 assists a game, which is really good for a guy his size. You look at a guy like Darius Garland too. Another guy who can not only get his shots within the flow of the offense, but he can also set guys up as well. I think in one of his games with the Clippers, I think he had 41 and 11 assists. I think it was the Dallas game, if I'm not mistaken. Darius Garland is an efficient shot creator, and he can be a tough shot maker. He's the reason why the Clippers got a really good win against the Indiana Pacers, and he was also the reason they got a win in overtime against the Dallas Mavericks. But if you also look at his Cleveland days, those numbers were pretty much the same thing. He's just averaging career highs next to Kawhi Leonard, and I think the Tyronn Lue system is benefiting him as well. Trae Young has led the league in assists the 2 of the last 3 years or so. I know he definitely led the league in assists last season. Fred VanVleet and CJ McCollum, same thing. And lastly, if you are not hitting shots and you are that size or shorter, you better be a freaking seatbelt defensively. Davion Mitchell is a prime example of that. Davion, while yes, he is short, I mean, he's no bigger than me. I mean, for those of y'all that don't know, I'm 6'1", 200 pounds. Davion is an inch shorter than me, and I think he's like, what, 205, 210? The dude is stout and strong, and he may not be the greatest shot maker, but damn, bruh, he could strap the hell up on defense. I've seen him go 1-on-5 against albeit a bad Utah Jazz team, but I've seen Davion play great defense on some of the better guards in the league, right? And he's defended a whole team by himself. Again, yes, it was a bad Utah team, but still, him doing the things that he can do at 6 foot is incredible defensively. And that's why Miami loves Davion and why the Sacramento Kings love Davion in the 3 years that he was there. Andrew Nembhard, even though, yes, he's not really a short guard per se, I think Andrew Nembhard is like, what, 6'3", 6'4"? Still not short, but he's not like, a giant on defense. But you could see his defensive impact, especially when defending guys like SGA and Jalen Brunson and Donovan Mitchell in the playoffs last year. That had a major impact on why the Pacers won a lot of ball games, and his defense on the Bucks too. And then you have a guy like Peyton Pritchard, who, yes, he is a short guard. I think he's as short as Davion, but Peyton is a freaking energy bunny defensively. The guy has quick feet. He has quick hands, and he knows how to get in solid defensive position. Marcus, if you are watching this, bro, shout out your man Peyton Pritchard. All in all, man, the reason why Cam Thomas is not in the league, and he probably ain't going to be in the league for the foreseeable future as far as I'm concerned, is because Cam is an inefficient, small shooting guard that will chuck up 650 shots per game, stopping the offense, and when he ain't hitting shots, bruh, he's not only unplayable, but he is unbearable to watch when it comes to every other aspect on the court. He can't defend, he can't rebound, and he cannot pass the ball to save his life. Yes, the 4 assists a game, beautiful. Can you average more than that and learn how to share the ball within the offense? And I can tell you guys, again, he was the beneficiary of a bad team. And he's not going to put up those numbers on a good team. I'm sorry to say that, y'all. There's a reason why no contending team that's serious about winning a championship would want a guy like Cam Thomas. I hope this experience humbles him and he becomes a better player because he is still young. And I hope these videos that a lot of us NBA content creators are making will be a wake-up call for a guy like him because no doubt the talent is there. It's just, he's just a selfish player. And sometimes in today's league, you cannot be a selfish player unless you could do other things on the court, like rebounding, defending, and etc., etc., etc. But I'm going to leave it to y'all. Do you guys think Cam Thomas should be on a team? Do you guys think, a lot of us in here are bluffing about Cam? Do you guys think that another team should give him a chance? Whatever y'all thoughts are, please leave it in the comments below. More NBA content coming soon. Y'all know the shizzle, my nizzle. That's the end of this video. I'm X. Deuces.